Join my gang or die. We offer competitive wages, dental insurance, and paternity leave.
Brace yourselves for some truth. The original 1991 Battletoads is a bad game. It has a reputation of being super difficult because its controls are awkward and stiff, while its levels require an unfair degree of precision. But the 2020 version of Battletoads is pretty much the exact opposite. It's a simple but fun and fair 3-player beat-em-up with enough humor and personality to drive a spin-off TV show, which they should totally make.
Have you found the other ones? The Arbaltos? The Totalos?
Oh, the things we're looking for.
It's short but sweet, and hey, you can actually choose what difficulty to play on.
Oh no! It's the mega famous Battletoads, including Zitz, the leader, Pimple, the strong one, and Rash, the sunglasses one.
Don't forget Best Kisser!
Enough talk. It's time to... Best kisser? Why are you the best kisser?
The story is straightforward but goofy Saturday morning cartoon style fun. The Battletoad trio of Rash, Zitz, and Pimple have been trapped in a virtual reality hole, living out a life where they've been worshipped as heroes for the past 26 years. Now that they're out, they just want to be famous again, and watching these TMNT knockoffs develop their own personalities is a treat. The new big bads are Hollywood producers' stereotypes obsessed with vanity and running everything like a TV show, and their godlike powers and indifference to the Battletoads makes them pretty entertaining in their own right. And the music is a ripping rock and metal soundtrack that's a real earworm. The combat isn't too deep or elaborate, but it can be a blast thanks to combos and lots of air juggling and tongue pulls. Any attack can be cancelled out of with a dodge or into a different attack, giving you all kinds of flexibility. The 3 Toads play distinctively too. Zitz is the fastest with his attacks, Pimple hits the hardest with slower attacks, and Rash strikes a nice balance between the two. Plus, playing a 3-player co-op means you can revive your friends, further smoothing out the difficulty. Things can get hectic, but even with all that going on, it's easy to keep track of your Toad amongst the chaos. Characters are big on screen, and the enemies will telegraph when they're about to do a big attack so you can dodge out of the way or pull off an attack to interrupt them. And enemies will drop flies that you can slurp up in the middle of combat to regain a little bit of health, so there's a margin for error. Combat still has room to grow though, because there's not that much enemy variety in play. Sure, sometimes they look like living toys or alien lumberjacks or even strange beasts, but there's truly only about 4 types of them. The melee guy, the blocking guy, the long range guy, and the guy who's invulnerable until you dodge his charge attack. The handful of boss fights are decent challenges, but also pretty one note. They all work the same way. They're big bad guys who telegraph attacks, summon regular enemies, and enter grander attack phases that test your dodge reflexes. So the main source of variety in Battletoads is in its collection of different minigames that dot the levels. They break up what could be monotonous stretches of fistfights with everything from hacking puzzles to a riff on the classic speeder bike and sledding levels. Wisely, the developers changed the speeder levels from a side-scroller where you barely had time to see an obstacle before you hit it to an over-the-shoulder view where you can see what's ahead of you. It's a simple concept of dodging and jumping over obstacles, but it's much more of a fun challenge than the original's frustrating nightmare. Other minigames include a twin-stick shooter section and some platforming. They're all basic, but enjoyable diversions. While the campaign is undeniably short at just 3 to 4 hours long, Battletoads has the virtue of never overstaying its welcome, depending on your difficulty setting and standing in the speedrunning community. But when it's done, it's kinda done. Sure, there are collectibles in each level that add some replay value, but it would have been nice if there were something to unlock or an extra mode when you finish to make it feel more substantial.
Is that it?
Guess so.
After more than a quarter of a century in limbo, this new iteration of the legendary punishing Battletoads takes everything that made the NES original memorable and reworks it into a friendlier, funnier beat-em-up. Entertaining characters with great visual style, simple but rewarding combat and minigames, and a rad soundtrack make it into a genuinely enjoyable revival, with its most notable shortcomings being that enemy variety is a little slim and the story is over a little too quickly.
Look! An instantly gratifying victory ceremony!
For more on Battletoads, check out the first minutes of gameplay. And of course, for everything else, stick with IGN.
Gamescom 2020 is the heart of gaming, and you can keep to the beat right here on IGN. We've turned the single biggest show in gaming into 5. Gamescom Now is your virtual show floor with up-to-the-second live coverage. Gamescom Daily Show, Gamescom's first ever late-night talk show. Our Gamescom Awesome Indie Show, the freshest deep cuts in indie gaming. And finally, the Gamescom Best of Show, including the Gamescom Award. Gamescom 2020 is available on IGN and wherever you stream Gamescom Now.